Hello and welcome to the first episode of Thoth AI. To make it easier to introduce the channel and the man behind the channel, we will be starting with an interview approach. So let's begin. Few subjects spark as much fascination and debate as the origins of humanity and the mysteries of the ancient world, from lost ancient technologies to unexplained phenomena. Alternative researchers continue to challenge conventional ideas about humanity's past. Let me introduce you to the social media creator behind the channel, who's discussing his observations on a range of controversial and compelling topics in order to address what's going wrong in the world today. He is launching his new social media channel dedicated to offering an alternative approach to the future by revisiting the past. The channel is called Thoth AI. So today we will explore with him the background to all this, the concerns that he has for the world, and the possible solutions to make the world a better place. Whether you're a believer, a concerned skeptic, or simply curious, I think you'll find this discussion fascinating. So now I would like to introduce you to the man himself. What first led you to question the mainstream understanding of ancient history and human origins?
Well, thank you for having me, and looking forward to talking about this. Um, Ever since I was 6 years old and going to church at the little Catholic church that I would go to, I would see statues and pictures on the wall. And like I said, from the early age of six, I had questions like, where do these statues come from, and why are there pictures of these people on the walls? And as I grew older, these questions prevailed. Everything I saw as far as what we were taught, I had questions about. And then later on in life, by the time that I found out about the Great Pyramid and other ancient sites around the world, that just sparked more questions. It's just my DNA. It's my blueprint. It's my makeup. I've just questioned everything since I've been here, and so based over a lifetime of observation, um, I that led me back to a previous lifetime when I remembered things the way they were, where most people would look at these ancient structures and have some type of idea, whether it's through academia or whether it's through just looking at it and say, well, this kind of resembles for instance, the Great Pyramid. They think it might have been a power plant because it's got all the earmarks of what a modern day power plant would look like. And so you can't fault them for that. But if you didn't have institutions teaching people what to think, then what would you be left with? You would be left with intuition, imagination, and or memory, because this system that we're living in is artificial. It mimics the original blueprint, the Genesis blueprint, if you will. People like me have a memory of what the past was. So, yeah.
The name you chose for your channel is an interesting one, Thoth AI. Can you tell us more about what this means?
Certainly. Well, then this is a good time to introduce reincarnation to people that may not be familiar with it. But a lot of people, whether it's through a religious experience or a religious lens, will look at the books that they believe in, and there's reincarnation mentioned through those texts. But when you put it into a real world practical sense, most people don't really put the two and two together. For instance, Yeshua, most people think they call him Jesus, but he asked his disciples, well, who are people saying that I am? And his disciples answered saying, well, some think you're Elijah or Jeremiah or one of the minor prophets. And so there's an introduction to reincarnation right there. That's what they obviously believed. But mainstream Christianity doesn't put two and two together and realize that's exactly what's being taught here. Mainstream society now is just now really um, coming to terms of reincarnation, and so people come to Earth and they don't ask, why am I here? Where am I going? And excuse me, why? Where did I come from? Why am I here? And where am I going? Where I leave? Um, and so that's the main thought process for most people. But there are people that have come to Earth. They've reincarnated through past life regressions. They have a very profound memory of an entire lifetime. And so there's many of us that have reincarnated at this time because we're mainly concerned that people do not, humanity doesn't repeat the cycles of the past, which is basically um, human extinction, if you will. So right now, society is very fragile, and we're facing um, extinction. So, I've remembered that lifetime, and so I remember the blueprints of the original architecture, and so the matrix system, if you will, is artificial. It's not sustainable. And so the original architecture of the realm is aether intelligence. The future is ancient. In other words, if we keep going the way we're going, humanity's headed for extinction. But if we go back and we reboot the original technology, then so that's why I named my channel Thoth AI, because Thoth is the original one of the original architects of the original Genesis blueprint, if you will.
So you mentioned about the world today. What concerns you the most about the world today and where we're heading?
Well, in terms that people can understand, we're just going to call it a matrix system or a beast system, um, what have you. But it's what people call the elite, I call entities. These people are not psychics and they're not prophets. They're programmers and they're projectors. And what they've done is they've weaponized technology, and they've enslaved humanity. And if we keep heading in the direction that they're taking us, then we're facing an extinction level event. But if we go backwards and we reboot the original technology and put the Earth back the way it was, it's not in harmonic resonance with the Earth.
What concerns you the most about the world today and where we're heading?
That we don't repeat the past of previous epochs where humanity went extinct. They were doing exactly what they were doing when those civilizations were destroyed. And so that's what my concern is. But instead of a dystopian future, I'm presenting a utopian answer for, humanity can take one road or they can take another. One leads to just dystopian future, and one leads us to a golden age.
That sounds great, actually.
Right.
Critics might say that some of these concepts rely too heavily on interpretation or even conspiracy. How do you respond to that concern?
Well, to answer that question, I would say, who are my critics, and why are they my critics, and why are there critics? Because we'd have to go look where the word conspiracy theory came up. Where did it originate? Where did pseudoscience originate? So, in other words, when people are critical or want to give me a label of pseudoscience or be critical, where is it? Where is the origin of it? And so, someone that may be critical of me is someone in the academic world. We were all taught at different universities and different professors and different ways of thinking and looking at things. And so when you look at the world of academia, whether it's a geologist, a mathematician, a physicist, Egyptologist, or who have you, what have you, whether they're from Yale or whether they're from just a community college, very few of them, very few of them are willing to put their career on the line and say, "Hey, wait a minute. I think everything that I've been taught is wrong." And somebody like Graham Hancock or Robert Schoch, I think that's his name, Robert Schoch, face criticism from their own peers. They were taught what to think. They weren't taught how to critically think. And so when you do some critical thinking, it gets into some areas that may be a little woo woo, but they've labeled it as pseudoscience. If you didn't have a university that taught you anything and you walked up to the Great Pyramid, what would you think it is? How would you deduce what this megalithic structure is? Well, for me, not only do I have intuition, I have memory from a previous life. And so the number one thing I can say is I can't take away their experience of going through university for 4, 6, 8 years. I don't want to take that from them, because they've had the experience, but they can also not take my experience away from me.
I understand